and I'll be your host today. There's a claim that we hear really often, especially from MAGAs, right? Which is that America is a Christian nation. If you're somebody that agrees with this sentiment, or you believe that America has always been a Christian nation, then give us a call and let's talk.
This is Skeptic Haven. Let's talk.
Hey!
Forgot how much of a bop that was. Do kids say that anymore? Is that a thing? Is that the word bop? Or is
I
it?
think I mean, that kind of sounds like
Is it a vibe?
90s, doesn't it?
90s? Yeah.
Wasn't that
Yeah.
like a thing in the 90s?
I don't know. My musical taste stopped progressing somewhere in the mid 90s. So I don't know. I feel like all music is that. Is that not the case? Is that not where I hear
guess-
there's
I mean, I guess it reminded me of like the hands-on song. Mbop.
Hanson
No,
song,
when
yeah.
you said Bob, I was like, is that what he's talking about?
Yes. Yeah. I love it. I used to be agnostic, but now I'm not.
No,
Skeptical Scott in the house.
that's a good one. So it's been a while. What are you
Yeah.
up to?
Yeah, I've been busy, man. Which is good and bad. I missed y'all. I missed hanging out with all the wonderful people over here. It's been a good while. I don't know if it's been like a year or what, but the long time fans will have seen my dumb face here on this channel for quite a while. So it's great to be back.
That's important. Yeah.
Been doing a lot of stuff in person. Been doing a lot of community building in person and having all kinds of different gatherings and stuff. I was actually just before I came on here, I was actually over at a humanist Sunday assembly potluck with a bunch of really wonderful people that have been making a great community in the deep South, as it were, in the front lines of Christian nationalism and so forth. Yeah. And just to be super duper clear, as I want to do, I'm not representing any organization or anything. I'm just here as me, Secularity, so I can say whatever I like in terms of promoting or not promoting candidates or bills or whatever. I'm just here as a private citizen today.
So it's like a strictly unofficial appearance.
That's right. That's right. It is officially an unofficial appearance. That's what it is. Unofficially official. I don't know.
Officially unofficial. Right? Okay. Words.
That's right. We got some.
We have the best words.
We got them all. You know what we don't have is a million mentions in the Epstein files.
I don't think, not even one, right? I mean, I don't think. I don't
actually haven't, because apparently you can go like search the whole database, just like as an average private person. But I have no desire to do that in any way, shape, or form. Like I have no interest in going to search it on my own. I'm very happy to let the very capable journalists in many place that will, like Der Spiegel is going to come out with something here in the next couple of months. I feel confident, and they always have great. Oh, they did recently.
I think it was like yesterday. Okay, somebody put together all the names that have been made public, and they put it on a sort of a. I completely forgot the name, but it was like a wiki something. Maybe wiki files. I don't know. It was something like that. I mean, it would have been maybe the name there like wiki PDF files. That might be no, but it was like the complete list. Whether the person did something major, like who, or whether it was somebody that was like I think it was Tina Turner or I don't know. It was a female singer. And she was in a photo on the files, and people started freaking out. Why was she on the file? Is she one of the abusers? It turns out it was a very easy explanation. The photo was there because Epstein took it himself, at some kind of benefit event that he attended, and she was a performer, but he didn't put the thing together. It was completely somebody else. He just happened to be there. She was a performer. He took a photo of them together and had the photo.
Right.
That's the only reason she was on there. So this,
like Bernie Sanders is mentioned because apparently like Peter Thiel is like pissed off that his kids like Bernie's policies or something, you know, on some beach vacation or whatever, like, you know.
Right.
So like it's not, you know, but again, like Donald Trump is pretty well implicated in my opinion. I mean, from what I've seen, I'm no expert, but I think, you know.
Yeah, like at least I don't know. Some of the numbers I hear was something like 30,000 times, and some up to like 50,000 times.
And some other people too that it was like oh man, like really like okay. So Elon's whole thing, right? About like no, I've never, you know, whatever, right? And then that message chain between him and Epstein, where it's like Epstein's like, hey man, come to my island, it's really nice and peaceful, and Elon is so fucking thick that he's like, nah man, I really wasn't looking for anything like calm or peaceful, I was really trying to rage this weekend. Epstein responds with like yeah, no, you dipshit, that's what the wink was for, you know. And it's like, god damn it. But yeah, it's very strange. It's very strange. But I hope it brings down many people.
Yeah. So what this wiki type page thing did was they put all the names, every single name that's mentioned, even if the person did something completely innocent, like pose for a photo with him. And it lists what they did, how many times they were listed, what type of method of communication, whether it was, you know, text message, just a photo, emails, blah, blah, blah. Whether they flew on the planes, whether they went to the island, all of that kind of stuff. So it's supposed to be like really complete. I didn't look at it, but I saw it mentioned. And when you were like, hey, somebody shriveled, and I was like, yeah, I think they did. So that's like, I don't know.
Check it out.
That'd be really helpful.
Check it. Yeah. They're pretty good. They're a pretty good one. And then the International Consortium for Investigative Journalism, ICIJ, the International Consortium for Investigative Journalism. I think they'll probably end up, I don't know if they have or not, but yeah, those are two places, international places, that I really love to go. And, you know, because it's so vastly different reading, you know, American-based news sources versus, you know, European or Southeast Asian, Australian. I mean, all these different, you know, places will have a different take on it. And sometimes you get some information that you just don't get in even in local sources.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that wasn't exactly what we were talking about. It just came up in
no, yeah, but it's
but I can make the bridge to the Christian nationalism stuff if you'd like. There are people that are saying, and I can't say for sure that this is true, right? Okay. I'm just asking questions. I'm just a concerned citizen listening to what people are saying that have opinions and thoughts. But many people, lots of people, just thousands of people are saying that the Christian nationalist movement currently in this country is in large part led by many of the types of people that would be found guilty, you know, in the Epstein files, you know, and the reason that they are pushing like a purity culture type thing is in a cover up for their own heinous crimes that they're committing right in front of our faces. Now, I can't say that is or is not true. I don't know for sure, right? One way or other. Possible. I'm just asking questions and just seeing the obvious connections between, you know, for instance, the laws in the United States, like my state, which allows for child marriage technically, as long as you're bringing that person from another country and you claim to have some religious motive. The United States government has signed off on tens of thousands of child marriages over the last handful of years because of that. So like, I don't know. I mean, you know, again, some people are saying, I can't say it's one way or the other.
Absolutely crazy. What is not be true? So what is the age for that? Because I'm aware that there are states where, you know, minors can be married with like parental permission and all of that. Obviously, don't think it's okay. Well, so but it's like
I think the youngest under like what I was just talking about. I think the youngest we've recorded is 8. in our government. But I don't know if there is technically a cutoff or not. But yes, it is as weird as it may sound, and I'm gonna say it in a weirder way so that everybody understands how messed up it is. Our government allows you to take a child from another country, claim that your God said it was cool, and then bring them in as your legal
spouse.
partner.
Yeah.
Right. That's a little weird. A little fucked up, right? I mean,
that's
that's
what you can
do. That's apparently okay. That happens.
Like, hey, loopholes, right? Loopholes.
Don't know why God would want that. Not really positive where in the biblical values these people claim they have, you know.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
I do also think there's something about like rendering unto Caesar what's Caesar's or something. But I don't know. I haven't read the Bible lately, so anyway.
Not lately. But speaking of like things that are absolutely unreal, right? The official pages, especially the Facebook pages for the government, the White House, and like different departments, like the Department of Justice and the Health Department and all that stuff, Homeland Security. Do you keep up with those a little bit on Facebook?
Say again, the people who like message like
no, like the official pages for like the White House.
No,
DHS.
I haven't.
Okay.
No, honestly, for years I haven't now. Yeah.
I didn't either, but they've been popping up on my feed, and I'm like,
really?
At first I thought they were like a satire type thing.
They're the official.
Because it's become like a comedy show. It's full of AI shit and like always something absolutely unhinged. Now, yesterday was Valentine's Day, right? Now, I'm gonna warn the audience and yourself that this could potentially make you vomit. Get like the image of it. Okay. Because when you think of the White House page, you think of Trump posting it, right? Because mostly like a lot of the stuff is spoken as coming from Trump. Now, it was a photo of those little hard candies that I always forget what they're called, Smarties or something.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. They're like the little chalk heart things. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, those.
I don't know what the fuck they're called either. They're just those candies. So I don't know. Yeah.
Like the little rock type things that you probably throw at somebody's head. No. Okay, so there are 3 hearts. One of them says love. The other one says MAGA.
Oh, God.
After there, we're like, all right. But the third one says, Daddy's home. Daddy's home.
So the hearts.
The big heart, the biggest heart says Daddy's
home. The heart
home.
said love, MAGA, and Daddy's home.
Yes. Like the mental image of that alone.
And we're the weird ones, you know? Like, and like we're the ones that are crazy, you know? Like, oh, people just shouldn't go bankrupt from a surgery. Like, you know? Like, our president is, he's telling us Daddy's home. There's no context that's okay. You're not our father. It's definitely not a sexual relationship we have with you. Like, this is it's very much a like employee employer type thing, and you're the employee. That's the point of being a government official.
And right? Like the authority, like
Daddy's home.
He made himself your daddy, you know.
That's not. That's not something I feel like as a public official. I just feel like, unfortunately, you know, and you know, it just is the case, right? But like when you're a police officer, right, you just don't get to do certain things, you know, and for good reason, right? Because it's like you're supposed to be in this place where you are, you know, supposedly a keeper of the peace. You know, you're somebody that can come into the difficult situation and take a neutral stand, blah, 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 keep everybody safe, blah, 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 right? So, like, there's just certain things you don't get to do, you know? I feel like as an elected official, you just, You no longer get the right to refer to yourself as daddy in the public sphere. You just lost that. You know, you're a congressperson. You know, I wouldn't want like Nancy Pelosi calling herself mommy or something.
Okay, so Joe in the comments says that it was a reference to being called daddy at the economic summit recently.
Oh God,
was that it? Okay, I thought
called him daddy at the summit.
Yeah,
Why?
there was a video of him saying that. I saw it. He
Why?
was like, "Well, they call me daddy," and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like
I've
he's speaking in front of the world.
Yeah, I don't know. I've moved my focus in a lot of ways from, you know, certain things like that. You know, I the first Trump presidency, I think I saw every single one of those terrible, stupid, fucking things. And this time around, like, I'm just focusing just in a different way. You know, I'm not watching that stuff. I'm not hearing that stuff because otherwise I'd just lose my fucking mind. Like,
Yeah.
it's so frustrating what's going on. You know, they just passed in my state, you know, this well, it moved out of the committee. They'll fully vote on it soon, whatever. It's gonna pass. It was fucking 17-3 in the committee. Like every other fucking committee, it was the same numbers, but it's just like mandating Bible classes in public schools, you know. And so like that's what my state's, you know, doing. Just horrible shit. And like, I don't know, I'm just focusing on that stuff and hoping we can try to do something, even though, you know, again,
It's true though, right? Because it feels like when I watch these posts, you know, pop up on my feed, it feels completely surreal. You're like, some of those I honestly thought they were jokes or like from some kind of satire page trying to pretend to be them, right? I remember on Christmas time there was one do you miss home, we'll give you a ride or some shit like that, or are you ready to go home?
oh, like talking about
And
deporting people.
yeah,
Oh my
and
God.
one of them, it was like, are you ready to go home? And it sounded really not like they were trying to say you're gonna go home, because the photo was like of the planet and then like space. So it felt like going home, you know what
Like,
I mean, right?
you're sending them to space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is absolutely like, how is this real life?
It is really difficult, I think, sometimes, because it doesn't feel like any typical opposition. It doesn't feel like, you know, what used to be conservative talking points and stuff. You know, it's very hard to used to, right? Used to be the case, at least from what I remember. I could be wrong, you know, somebody correct me, but there used to be a time where it was just like, well, if a gun's involved, we know where the Republicans stand. Yeah, you know, like with the gun, you know, they're on board. But that just isn't the case anymore, is it? It just isn't the case anymore, because now they have this crazy thought, and it's wild, but they have this thought of like, well, maybe there's just some places that guns shouldn't be for like certain people, you know, sometimes, you know, and it's like, oh, okay, so you just have no principles to stand on, you know. So like, how do you fight an enemy that at the end of the day you're like, well, you said healthcare costs won't rise, and they go, nope, I didn't say that. And you're like, oh, well, here's the email that you sent, you know? And they're like, nope, didn't say it. Don't care. And you're like, oh, okay, well, here's a video of you at a rally talking about keeping healthcare costs lower. Nope, don't care. Doesn't matter. And it's like, oh, okay. And then the next day, they just bitch about something else. You know?
Yeah.
They don't care anymore. Like, it's a very odd opponent, because it is a purity culture that shifts with the leaders of the movement. and is not really principled, right? Which is why they spent like 3 fucking years bitching about the Epstein stuff, and then just wanted to pretend like none of it was real, and then like had their hands forced, and then we're like, oh, I mean, like we were always gonna. Like, I was always going to sign this law into effect that Congress had to pass because I wouldn't release the files, which I can do at a moment's notice. Like, I was always going to sign that law. And it's like, right, but the only reason that the law came up was because you wouldn't release them. And it's like, well, anybody else could have released him at any point in time. And it's like, right, but the only reason we're talking about this now is because you specifically said you would release them.
And then they go like, well, but why did Biden not release them?
Yeah, right. It doesn't matter, in my opinion. Like, why didn't Biden release them? You know what? Drag his wrinkly ass into Congress and ask him. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. Like, what does that mean to me?
Well, look, like, they don't really care about facts, though, because Biden could not release them because it was an open investigation.
Right.
Now they closed it, and they were able to release them, but Trump chose not to do that.
Yeah.
Because apparently all the Democrats were on it, and he was trying to protect them.
Right, right. All the Democrats that were on it. I know this, again, this is crazy, and I'm probably not the first person to say it, but, any elected official, whatever their party, that is implicated, we should investigate. I mean, is that crazy? Like, how is that not a reasonable stance for the people in our government and our country right now? How is that just not a reasonable fucking stance? But apparently, people like Pam Bondi are really okay with things like child sex trafficking. I mean, and again, I don't know that that's true. I'm not saying that's true. I'm saying other people have said she is actively complicit and involved in helping and making tons of money under the table. Again, that's not me. I'm not saying that,
who cares about victims? Don't you know the dough is $50,000?
I did hear that. And that
rich.
That does a lot for me, I will say. I feel like now it will be a lot easier for corporate billionaires to sex traffic children. So I don't know. It just feels like it's not a win there, Pam. It's not a win for you there. Not a win for you.
It's like that's not the flex you think it is, girl.
Yeah. It is a really messed up. It is a really messed up time, again, because they are specifically perpetuating an ideology and a culture, again, like this. There is a huge purity culture that runs through this movement, and it runs through a lot of the people that are big names in it. Charlie Kirk, for instance, had a lot of these kinds of talking points, and anybody that's looked into this for just even a moment's amount of time, again, I know all the wonderful people here are familiar with this stuff. Purity culture is just misogyny. It's just rape culture. It's just it is purposefully designed to continue to subjugate anybody that is not just obviously a man, right? And so it breeds this type of terrible thing. The Epstein files come from a lot of these horrible ideologies. That's the reason that they're around. So, but
what I find really interesting about purity culture and everything going on with the Epstein files, right? Because we know that there were some boys that were trafficked, but the majority were young girls.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
As it is regularly, right? Generally, in most of human trafficking is women and young girls. But we cannot deny that there are men and boys in it.
Absolutely.
But it's really, really weird because I mentioned before the show that I had this post with the word transphobia on it, and it was 1,000 comments all of a sudden, 24 hours. all from majority of them were men, and all of them were
Surprised.
like, why do you want men in women's spaces, referring obviously in a transphobic way, of trans women being in women's spaces. By the way, trans women are women. So I started asking them this thing. Okay, so you don't want men in women's spaces. Why is that? Well, because women need protection. Okay, we're getting somewhere now. What do women need protection from? Well, men. That's why we don't want men in women's spaces. Okay. Now you get it. Why? Why do women need protection from men? Right? And again, I always repeat this.
Oh
We
yeah.
have tons of allies who are men,
Yeah.
but like this very specific type of men that think women need protection
Correct.
or dominance are very specific, are exactly the men we need protection from.
Mhm.
And why do we need that? Because they're fucking predators.
Yes.
So
Yes.
and all
I'm,
over the files too. Yeah.
I'm sorry to there's a really great spoken word poem that I often bring up in these types of conversations, and it was made by a local organization here in Middle Tennessee many years ago. It's a little difficult to find online just because the title is "We Are the Lions," and there's a bunch of things with that title. But there's a part of it where he talks about hearing a story when he was younger about a small village where, for some unknown reason, in the dead of night, when the fog rolled in, lions would come into the village and they would ravage villagers in the middle of the. So the villagers get together and they decide that a man, men are gonna watch the tribe, and they're gonna take shifts, and nobody's ever gonna be asleep, so that nobody could come in and destroy this beautiful family that they're creating. And as they stood around watching, guarding, they realized very quickly why nobody stopped it. And they realized very quickly why the victims were always little girls and why the lions came in the middle of the night. Because it's not fucking lions, right? The monsters are not underneath the bed, right? And that is the issue. And absolutely, like you said, there are men, there are boys that were caught up in not only that specific terrible sex trafficking, but in all of it. We know that is the case. We know that happens, and I'm not diminishing that in any way. But the overwhelming majority of the victims, we know who they are. And the overwhelming majority, not to say that there aren't women, that there aren't girls that also commit things, right? Not,
Yeah,
women
obviously.
can be arsonists too, right?
Exactly.
Feminism, y'all. No, just sorry, that's silly. But
No, but you're not wrong.
but the overwhelming majority of the predators, the overwhelming majority of the people that are involved, this is a man's issue. This is an issue that we need to own, because it starts with us. Like, it does. And that's something that we need to understand,
And here's the thing to remember: having a penis is not the threat. Okay, because
Absolutely. Your genitals are not the issue.
women are not scared of gay men because they're not a threat in the first place, and they have a penis, and they can have other features that people will be like, oh, that's a man for sure.
Yeah.
And it's like, when we talk about trans women, I don't feel that's a threat.
Mm-hmm. It shows how little those people think of not only women but also men. It shows how it really highlights what people are talking about when they talk about toxic ideologies, right? Like toxic masculinity. It is not just that it hurts other people. Obviously, that's a big part of it, right? But it is that it literally forces you to look in the mirror and call yourself a worthless piece of shit, and be proud of that. You on a regular basis as a man in that mindset are regularly telling yourself, thank goodness other people are always watching me, because if I'm ever alone, the monster comes out. And like, what a horrible way to live. I mean, how little you must, think of yourself and others on a consistent basis. That's just so sad. But again, we don't know for sure. We can't say 100% that all of the Christian nationalist movement right now is really just a cover for all of these terrible things, like rape and sex trafficking and so forth. But so some people are saying, and there seems to be evidence coming out. So,
for sure.
I think there's good connection.
Okay, somebody just sent me a link to the spoken word that you were talking about, and it's called "We Are the Lions."
Nice, yeah. It's like he's got dude's like kind of short hair. He's in like a gym, I think, maybe, or like jacket on, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I'll look at it afterwards. It's really good. It's really good. I enjoyed it. It doesn't matter. It's probably the right one.
Okay. Yeah. Anyways, if I open it, it's gonna start the sound in my ear.
Yeah.
I probably should focus on this.
Right.
Pay attention. Pay attention.
Christian nationalism. So you are you're in a Christian nationalist hellhole state like I am. Both of our state governments have done really shitty things lately. So
it is like there's I was just thinking, okay, like there's this little rule, okay, in the very first amendment of the Constitution, which is called the Establishment Clause. And now, for anybody that doesn't know what it is it forbids the government from creating an official like countrywide or what we will call state church. And what Christian nationalism is doing is rejecting that principle that the government has to remain neutral and not pick any specific religion or make an official one or anything like that. And it seems like Texas, I'm from Texas, right, generally follows Oklahoma. Like, surprisingly, I always thought that Texas was worse. And then since I became an atheist, I was like, okay. I was like paying more attention. All right, wait, they did it first. And so anytime Oklahoma does something to their legislation that is extremely, very clearly Christian nationalist, Texas is going to follow. When they first pushed for the 10 Commandments and prayer in school, and they passed laws for it, Texas followed. Then they pushed all of these Bible curriculum. Texas was like, hold my beer, let's go. Yeah. So last year there was this new legislation that they tried to push it. Eventually, it did pass. Was that last year or the year before? Anyway, doesn't matter. It was called Blue Bonnet. And so basically it's a curriculum, and it is optional technically, but they use money as an incentive for schools to use it. So they're like, hey, I'm gonna pay you $40 per student. And so like the schools like in my area are extremely low budget, and the teachers are buying everything, so it's like $40 per student is
that's a big deal.
Yeah, for them it is.
Yeah,
so
because they've radically underfunded the public education budget for decades on purpose. Like,
they gave like all these vouchers, like funnel money to the Christian schools and all that. But anyways, this Blue Bonnet curriculum has several Bible stories, or they're not full stories. They're like a couple of verses here and there, but they're integrated into different subjects, right?
Yeah.
But they started with up to 5th grade. The Blue Bonnet is specifically up to 5th grade. Okay. So now they started a process to do the same thing but for upper grades. And so they're like they're going through the different steps. They're still going through the voting and stuff, but I have no doubt because of how fucking conservative, Abbott and all of these Christian nationalist Texas leaders are, that they're very easily just gonna put it through, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I thought it was really interesting that one of the stories that they're going to include is the Book of Job. And before we talk about like the whole thing, before we talk about what I
Some of
just
my
mentioned,
favorite books. Yeah.
what message do you take from the Book of Job? Like, because I'm thinking like how are they going to explain this to children?
Yeah, that was one of my favorite books of the Bible when I was a believer, and now very much
Really?
a non-believer. Oh yeah, it was one of my absolutely favorite books
Okay,
when I was a
why
believer.
was it your favorite though? Like, what did you
As a
like about it?
believer?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I love to talk about this because here's the I'll go ahead and give you the punchline real quick and then I'll explain, which
Okay.
is as a non-believer, very much an atheist now, it is still my favorite book of the Bible, just for very different reasons. So when I was a believer, my God was very much all powerful. And when I talk about an all powerful God, I don't mean, the man in the sky. If you came up to me and you said something like, is God so powerful that he can make a boulder that he can't lift? I'd be like, oh my God, you don't understand. That's cute. Like it doesn't matter. That's not a question that matters to God. How dare you ask such a stupid question? What a worthless way to live your life, thinking that you could ever, comprehend the majesty and beauty and power of God. Don't you remember what God said to Job after years of faithful belief, following of the Lord Yahweh? After everything was stripped from him and Job pleads out, he begs to God on a mountain in a storm after ripping his clothes, sitting on a pile of ash, and he prays and he begs and he says, why, God? Why? And God comes down and basically says, fuck you, Job, I made the earth. And that's why it's my favorite book of the Bible now, is because when I look at it, I'm like, oh my God, that's actually really shitty. Like that is a horrible message, but also a message that I think is very accurate when it comes to the way that faith is talked about in a lot of religious contexts, and is very accurate in the way that a lot of people, live their lives based on faith, right? So when I
Yeah.
was a believer, it was very nice for me because it was very comforting. Hey, you need to just shut the fuck up, SR, and just live because God is better than you. And then now, as a non-believer, it's like, oh my God, that's horrible. So yeah, it's a really bad message, honestly. And there's not a great way to clean it up, even as a believer. The difference is, as a believer, you just accept that as being a good thing. Your value systems is one where you just say like, oh yeah, that is correct. So yeah. But anyway, it's weird that they're choosing that one. Noah would
I
have been, yeah. Also,
No, because like for me, the one part that's really horrifying is what, for one, obviously the fact that he is a follower, right? Like
right.
he is very devoted to God, and then you imagine God and Satan just strolling through. I don't know whether in heaven or whether in hell.
No,
That's the
I
question.
think they're on Earth. I think they're actually like walking around
Okay.
on Earth, like looking at Job. It may say that they're looking down from heaven, but
Okay.
yeah, the way the whole bet of it is pretty funny.
Yeah, but then God's like, well, you do what you
So
gotta do, man.
So I think this is a really great way. And I'll just real quick before we say it, the lines are back up. People can call us.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Good. Call us. The number's on the screen. Call us. I'm not going to read it. You guys are smart. I have gone through with Arn Ra's series. If anybody hasn't done
Mhm.
this, it's really worthwhile. A good couple of years ago, he brought together a panel to go through the Quran, and they went through it. There are two different ways that you can go through it. You can either go through it in the current printed order of the books, right?
Mhm.
So most people would assume that chapter 1 is the first chapter, right? I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Of course, as we know, that's not the case, because it's not the case with the Bible either. Like, Genesis is not, the first book that was ever written that would eventually be, canonized. It's actually Job. Job is the oldest one that we've had, historical record of. It goes back super duper long. And so it's actually, when you put both the Quran and the Bible in chronological order, oh my God, the story becomes so much different.
Really?
And yeah, and
I didn't know that part.
When you start the Bible with Job being the first book of the Bible and coming to understand how people viewed God and Satan and humanity's place in the world and all of this other stuff, like, it will then shed a shit ton of light on all of these other books in the Old Testament. And once you start understanding a little bit more about Ezekiel, then it'll be like, oh my God, I totally get why they're doing that in Revelation now. Like, that makes so much sense. Because they're looking back to this fucking book that they've had for so fucking long. And then eventually a bunch of people, another 1,000 years later, practically come together and are like, I don't know, I'm pretty sure that's the first one, that's the second one, fuck it.
Wow.
Yeah, it is. It's a really fascinating, because the devil in that context, obviously, in Job is
fascinating.
He's much more, he's less of this all-powerful demigod type thing that has he's very much not a fallen angel. That's not really the way he's looked at more of, honestly, as an advocate. That's what all the ancient Near East scholars discuss when it comes to the original Satan or Shaitan in the Arabic, in the Quran.
But it's like a really sadistic story too.
Oh, it's fucked up.
Because it's like, hey, listen, Satan, go ahead, do whatever you gotta do, and Satan's like, all right, I'm gonna kill all of these 10 children, and he offs all the children, and then later he was like, well, you know what? Let me just replace him. Kind of like, I just broke your vase over there in the corner. My bad. Here's a new one. You're good, right? Because you have a replacement. Like, how the fuck you gonna explain that to children? But anyway.
Yeah, it's really horrible. It really is horrible. God destroys absolutely everything and then just moves on like there's no problem. So
yeah. But so, okay, as I comment earlier, Will Judy, I think Will.
Oh yeah.
From Secular Houston.
Absolutely.
And he was saying that they're doing great things here in Texas to push back on Christian nationalism.
Yes.
So they've actually recently registered as a nonprofit, and where they can actually endorse.
Secular Houston just did?
Yeah.
Oh, a 501c4?
Well, I think it's 501c3 because they can endorse candidates, which is a little bit different.
I believe that's C4. I could be mistaken. But either way, yeah, I can definitely tell you, Will Judy is a freaking beast, and yeah, anybody that needs to get behind Secular Houston. And if you're not in that area, I totally get that. There are other groups that are similar, in your area. Go do that. Go find the bills. Go. There's a bunch of great video of Will just straight up talking to the congressman.
I know, yeah.
I love it, man. Yeah, they're a pack. Yeah, awesome. No fucking way. That's awesome, Will.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, we're gonna keep talking about the topic of schools and stuff in a second because we have a call.
We got a call.
We have a call, and I think we are ready. And this is a call from Alfred. Him from Texas. He's a theist, and he said, conspiratorial thinking amongst right and left wingers, how their views change based on who's in power. Okay. All right, we can discuss that.
All right, I think they're on. Alfred, are you on?
Let's see. I see it on the screen. I'm not seeing the usual little symbol icon that comes up on the screen. Maybe they put the wrong one on. So, crew.
I don't know.
If you get that, because it's a redacted square down here. It's redacting my chest area.
Yes, you're showing way too much skin. I think you're unmuted, Michael.
Yes, I think we just heard Michael.
Yeah. That's one of our wonderful producers.
Yeah, the crews in the background.
I can't hear Alfred. I don't know if you can hear us, Alfred. So
Not at this moment.
mhm.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, great.
Hey.
Okay, now we can. Thank you, audio.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Cool.
Alfred, you there? Can you hear us?
Yes.
Hey, fantastic.
All right, cool.
Well, how are you?
Sunday evening in Texas, so
Yeah, it is. I'm in Texas
Not
as
bad.
well.
Good. Yeah. Good. Well, what would you like to talk about today?
well, I just noticed you guys were talking about the Epstein files, and I mean, in my mind, let me back up a little. I once was watching a TV show, and they mentioned they made a generalization. It's kind of an observation, and it's that each political party or each group, the leftists and the right wingers, they tend to get more conspiratorial in their thought processes or their outlooks when they're not in power. And I think that's a really good, you can really see it. And I even see it on this show. I mean, you guys are obviously on the far left.
I hate to interrupt, Alfred. I hate to interrupt. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to interrupt. But did you say you were watching a video on this or you heard a study on this? Just clarify for me real quick, and I have a follow-up.
Well, the source doesn't really matter. I mean, it's just
hang on. It does. Hang on. Here's the reason why it does is because I've actually seen a study that was done by a couple of different reputable sources over the last handful of years that does actually indicate what you're talking about, but the degree to which the different sides get conspiratorial is vastly different, and that is the important part of that study.
Yes,
it is not the important that, I mean, it's interesting that, like, hey, when our side's not in power, we get a little bit more crazy. Like, yeah, I kind of would have figured that, like we did a $10 million study to find out why prisoners don't enjoy jail. It's like, I don't know, it sucks, man. That's pretty easy for me to figure out. Could have given me that money, saved you a bunch, but like the degree to which those that are self-described as right-wing get conspiratorial when they're not in power is a much greater degree. Like I'm pretty sure it was like at least 10 percentage points difference, which is pretty big. But sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to get that out there real quick. Go ahead, man.
Oh yeah, I do agree that all things being equal, the right wing, it's not even close. They're more conspiratorial in outlook.
Cool. But yeah. Sorry. Keep.
I do agree with you though. I think that when one side is not in power, we tend to sort of overanalyze the side that is in power. However, regarding the Epstein files, I don't care which side is on it. I want every single person that did something, whether it be Biden, whether it be Clinton, whether it be Richard Dawkins, who's an atheist. And I mean, I don't support his views or anything, but he's an atheist. What I mean to say is, like, I don't care if they're part of any specific religion over any specific political party. I want them all prosecuted.
Yeah. And if this was happening under, just to be super clear, and obviously, like, we can't ever demonstrate this, right? But like, just to be clear, if this had happened like just 2-3 years before, and like all of this shit was able to come out under Joe Biden, under fucking Barack Obama, under anybody, like, I don't give a shit, man. Like, it's like, hell yeah, I want all of this out there. I absolutely want us to clean up corruption. The problem, I think, and maybe I'm just a little pessimist, I am concerned that the problem is deeper and that, we're going to superficially, we're going to get a handful of people and they're going to be convicted, like Harvey Weinstein is convicted, I think he's struggling very hard with his hundreds of millions of dollars. So, sorry, go ahead, Alfred.
It's like the Russiagate, like that wild bantha chase to nowhere, the Russiagate, that went nowhere. Nothing came. Like, obviously, that's an exaggeration. I don't usually give leftists advice, but I'm just telling you, you're wasting your time with this one. but you're in that frame of mind right now. So
with which one? Which
Wait,
one are
which
we
one?
wasting our time with? The
Yeah,
Epstein
that
or
was
the
my question
Russiagate?
too.
Yeah.
well, both.
Okay, what do you think we'll talk about the
Let's talk
Russia
about
thing.
Epstein.
Yeah, we'll
let's-
talk about the Russia thing in a minute, Alfred. Let's talk about the
yeah.
Epstein stuff. What do you think we're like wasting our time with?
What should we be doing though?
I don't know if there's a list that's ever going to come out.
Well, I don't know that that's yeah, I don't know that that's really what I care about. I don't know that I need like a spreadsheet or anything. I think what I want is there seems to be more than enough evidence to very much open investigations into multiple people with a lot of power who did really bad things. Like, honestly, I don't ever need to know a motherfucker's name. I don't ever need to know anybody's name as long as they are adequately prosecuted, right? Now, how do we do that without actually knowing their names? It kind of seems like there's a contradiction there, so we probably would have to know their name, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like, I don't really care about like a list so much as I care about like justice, right?
Actions, yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you though, Alfred. You talk about both sides believing in conspiracy theorists. Do you think that the Epstein files is a conspiracy theory of the left?
I think it gets into that territory, yes.
Okay, what exactly is the conspiracy part?
Well, a conspiracy usually involves some kind of cover-up, and there are real cover-ups. I think they tend to see it as more nefarious than perhaps it is.
Have you read any of the published files?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Okay, how did you know it's a conspiracy? Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just I was just gonna say this on the they tend to think it's like more than what it is type, like blowing it out of proportion type thing. I'm never against I'm never against taking an extra look at stuff, right? To make sure that like, hey, wait a second, like, is the house actually burning down? Like, was this just a small spark in the kitchen? If the pan on the stove catches on fire, that is radically different from my bed catching on fire. I'm with you there, Alfred. Okay, totally, man. Let me just throw this out, right? You said, hey, not super duper familiar with it. What if I told you? Right? Not saying this is 100% the case, but what if I told you that there is enough information in the files that currently implicates, let's just say, 100 different people around the world that were very prominent individuals, either in business or government or non-governmental organizations that had major influence and ultimately, sex traffic thousands of underage individuals. Like, would you think that's a big deal?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, cool, great, me too. I assumed that you would say that, Alfred, because I assumed you're a decent person, like I assumed you would be like, fuck yeah, man, of course that's horrible. That's what seems to be in these, man. That is, again, I haven't searched the database myself either, right? And I don't plan on doing it, especially after I found out that I heard from numerous reputable news sources, like there is a lot of imagery in there. There's a lot of videos and pictures, which is like disgusting that those should be in there, but they are. That involve, the victims and stuff. It's very strange that our government did this, but
well, there are the majority of them, if they involve the minor, they're completely blacked out. So
yeah, but but
you can still hear them. You can still,
is right, and still there's still some again,
graphic,
some very uncomfortable and weird. I think that's worth investigating. I think that's worth, and I think that's a big deal. Again, we can talk about the whole Russiagate thing in a minute if we want to, but with this specifically, it does seem to me like, yeah, man, this should be something we should all be able to come together and say we should find this out. And if nothing went wrong, then fine, nobody's to blame and everybody's squeaky clean. But otherwise, those motherfuckers are in jail for the rest of their lives, right?
But I do have a question for you, Alfred, because I have as I say, there's a lot of very reputable sources that are combing through all of these files so that the public doesn't have to go through all of these 3 million pages. And so there's a lot of places that are showing very specific, very important parts of it, the worst parts of it. But if you have not looked at those and you have not read any of the files, so how did you come to the conclusion that this is a conspiracy?
Well, I'm just kind of where there's smoke, there's kind of, so I haven't looked into it. I'm a where there's smoke, there's fire kind of guy, and it's like I've never looked into Holocaust denial claims. You know, they might, in theory, be getting something wrong, but I would just assume that if there's enough evidence, like holy, you know, people would swarm around it, and that's not like the kinds of people that I trust, or it's not really been a big story.
You don't just to be clear, you're not saying just to be clear, Alfred, you're not saying that the amount of people talking about a story adds to the truth of that story, are you?
No, not necessarily.
Okay, right. So just because, like, for instance, I don't know if you are a fan of the World Cup or not. The Olympics are happening right now. I'm a big fan. I haven't been able to watch this year for different reasons, just busy and stuff. But like, do you ever watch the World Cup? Are you a fan of FIFA, Alfred?
No.
That's okay. The Men's World Cup is happening this year, 2026. Bunch of different teams in competition.
Here in Houston.
Yeah. I wonder, did you hear about the massive international corruption scandal that was busted by the United States federal government around the world just a handful of years ago involving FIFA? There was literally tens of billions of dollars worth of bribes and bets and hundreds of people caught up, absolutely demonstrably rigging the system all around the world. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, because like, you know, you don't really listen to soccer shit much, man. I love that shit. And so absolutely, I heard all about it. They didn't stop talking about it for a full fucking year, man. Like, because it involved that many people. It was such a big deal, you know? There's so much media out there. There's so much stuff out there. There's no possible way that we can all, you know, consistently consume enough from enough different angles to get the full story, right? We have to, fortunately or unfortunately, rely a little bit on some help, whether it be technological or organizational. Like, as you're probably aware, Alfred, like there's every other damn video on YouTube you watch now, somebody's getting sponsored by Ground News, right? And good for them, man, and good for Ground News because they're doing a good service. They aggregate all the different media outlets out there and they bring them together and they say, look, here's what the left's saying, here's what the right's saying, here's what people in Europe are saying, here's what people in South America are saying. And it's just possible that honestly, you just haven't consumed some of that media that's talking about this, because in a good couple of places I could point you to, man, they haven't stopped talking about this Epstein stuff, you know? Like it's been nonstop, you know?
And like my not hearing about a specific crime doesn't mean that crime didn't happen.
Sure. I just remember, I don't know if you guys remember, I'm old enough to remember, it was like wall to wall coverage of the Russiagate stuff. And
for
people
sure.
were talking just like this, and not a damn thing came out of it. Like,
well,
no.
Okay, so I'll move to that. I love to move to that because it has been a while, and I think we've forgotten a lot of the things that came out. So that was a period of time that I was very much in my news junkie phase. I've toned it down a good bit over the years, Alfred. But at that period of time, and I'm not shitting you on this, okay, I can still to this day go find those articles, because at that time I would read the exact same news story from 5 different international sources plus a local American source and saved every single one of them in a Google Drive. Okay. So I absolutely remember that. I followed that like a fucking madman on meth, okay? I was way too into it and know way too much about it. And to say that nothing came of it, I think is a little bit reductive of what happened. What was shown was overwhelmingly an individual and the organizations around that individual trying to be elected as the president of the United States were undeniably interested in foreign interference that would sway the American public to voting towards them. Abso-fucking-lutely that came out of that. There is no question whatsoever that that was the case. Was there anything that occurred that technically could be indicted under the federal government system? No, I don't think that that was the case, but not for lack of trying. It was for a fucking comedy of errors. Literally, they responded to a motherfucker and he just got the damn date wrong. He showed up at the fucking wrong coffee shop. I mean, shit like that was all through it, man. So like, again, no, was there anything technical? Was there ever a moment in time where Trump took like millions of dollars in a fucking briefcase or anything from Saudi Arabia? No. But was there obvious attempts by foreign? Go ahead. Sorry.
That was the subtext. A lot of people were led to believe this is going to bring Trump down. He's going to be kicked out of the White House, and that never happened.
And that is true. And that is true. Fair enough.
Yeah. That's fair. And that's fair to say. You're right about that.
Interfere in other that kind of language, interfering in our elections, is so loaded because it makes it sound like they were trying to get into our machines or something, and it's literally like referring to a third-rate internet campaign. And if that's enough to subvert democracy, then that's not it. That isn't the entirety of it, man.
Right? Like, do you not remember the whole Hillary Clinton emails thing? There was a specific coordination, and not just the one moment that Trump said it on a speech on live fucking television, where he said, like, man, I don't know, maybe the Russians can hack her email address. There was a coordinated effort by a group that was undeniably traced back to the KGB that absolutely contacted the Trump government and was like, hey, we're thinking about doing a thing. And the Trump was like, I don't know if you should do it like that. Maybe try it like this. And they're like, okay, we'll do it like that if that's what you want. And they're like, yeah, sure, great. And then they just didn't connect. Like, they threw the ball to the receiver and the receiver just tripped, bro. Like, they attempted to score. They absolutely did. And they just were incapable of doing it for a variety of reasons. That's why the Mueller report ended the way it did, which is why William Barr had to come out before it and say there was nothing criminally found. Because when the Mueller report actually came out, it was undeniable, not only that the Trump administration and those surrounding it were willing to take that foreign interference, but also that they undeniably obstructed the investigation into it. Like, but you can't indict a sitting president. You can't do it. So, like, you know, anyway, I'm sorry. I'm getting excited, Alfred. I know I've talked a bunch. I'll give you a few seconds to say something as well. I'm sorry. I'm excited.
Well, I mean, we interfere in other elections. So, I mean,
okay, so both are bad. No, hang on. That's fine. Both are bad. Both are bad, right? Both are bad. Both are bad, right? You agree. Both are bad.
Yeah. One doesn't deny the other. Are they bad? Are they both bad?
Right? They're both bad. Sorry, say again. Kind of cut out.
I don't really have an answer for that. So
you don't have an answer? Is that what you said?
Wait. So are you saying that you don't know whether
I think they're both
like
bad.
the Russian interference is clearly bad, but the US interference is not? Or you don't know whether it is bad?
I don't there's some real Russophobia especially on the left, and I just don't hate them. I'm not like Russia.
Yeah, I'm not. No, me either. Just so you know, I don't hate Russia. I don't hate Russian people. I don't hate China. I don't hate Chinese people. I have massive problems with the KGB, the Kremlin, and everything that Putin fucking stands for. And the same is true for the CCP and Xi Jinping.
And the same
Like,
is true for America. I don't
oh,
hate
sure.
America.
Yeah, I also have. Yeah. Especially this administration.
American
Yeah,
people.
got lots of stuff to talk about. Yeah. But yeah, like I don't hate Russians. I actually love a lot of Russian culture. I think there's some really fascinating history. For instance, some of the leaders, you know, there are two leaders that come from the historic Russian Empire that are called greats. Do you know how many people in the history of humanity we give that fucking title to? Very few. And two of them come from the exact same goddamn place, not that fucking far from each other. There's a reason. Peter and Catherine were cool, man. Like, I'm not against Russia. I'm not against the Russian people. I'm against the policies of Vladimir Putin, and I'm against many of the ideologies that make up that government, right? Like, that's what I'm talking about. And again, just to go back real quick, like, yeah, of course America fucks with other people's government. Hell yeah, they do, man. That's been talked about on this channel a good bit too. And I'm not here to stand for that. Like, well, we did that shit in Ecuador. It's like, yeah, and that was bad. I agree. It was also bad when we did it in another country, just like when another country does it to us. Like, you know?
All right. Well, I appreciate the feedback. Thank you.
Yeah. I thought that was a pretty good conversation, man. I appreciate you, Alfred.
Good talk. Thank you. Hope you'll come back sometime.
Yeah.
Good evening.
All right. Cool stuff.
It wasn't bad. Yeah, I will real quick though, just because I know I already said a bunch, but I'll just real quick again. It has been years since the Russiagate stuff, and so I know a lot of that has gone in, you know, has gone past many of us. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff that came out, and it wasn't great. And again, like, sure, there wasn't any. You know, everybody talks about the smoking gun, and it's like, you want to watch the guy get murdered is what you want, man. And that just doesn't happen, right? Like that, the likelihood that we have on camera, them saying, hey man, so work with the Russians, yay or nay? Oh yeah, work with the Russians.
Go make some bot farms and fuck with it. Yeah.
We don't have that on video, of course not. But like, again, if anybody remembers, go back and watch it, you guys. Go read it. The Mueller report, when he stood up there, when Robert Mueller stood up there and gave the report, he was clearly so uncomfortable because he was screaming with his face. He was screaming with his eyes. He was like, oh my God, you guys, do you not see? And then, you know, we just kind of kept going, I guess.
I mean, it really is kind of like the God claim, right? Like, people go in and like, hey, believe this thing. Just because you suddenly believe it, God isn't going to come down and shine down upon you and show himself to everybody. However, you can have evidence for or against his existence. So you don't go by God showing himself on camera in order to believe or not believe. You go by the evidence that you do or don't have. Right. And sometimes it's not all of it. Sometimes it's not going to be like a clear cut fucking guilty.
Right. And honestly, a lot of times, right? I mean, a lot of times that's what it like, especially in complicated things like this. It is a rare. Do you remember the Louvre just getting burgled just a handful of
you
remember about that, right? It was a crazy thing. They had literally like a fucking crane outside or something. I mean, all kinds of crazy shit. Just literally a jewelry heist. When does that happen? You know, like, how does that happen?
The
right? Anyway,
movies.
We know that shit like that happens, right? The likelihood that you're ever gonna get the messages back and forth from the guys involved, like, hey, did we rent a truck for that? Oh no, I think Bill is the one that's supposed to take care of that. Oh, hey, Bill, I looped you in with Tim here. Are you ready to go rob the Louvre? Yeah, man, fuck that museum. I can't wait to sell all that stuff and make lots of money. Like, you don't have that almost always, right? You almost always don't have that. The thing about the Russiagate, we did have some of that. That's the thing. We did. There was actually messages back and forth that were like, hey, man, we're thinking about this. And then somebody was like, oh, yeah, sounds great. Should we do it like that? And it's like, I don't know. Loop this person in from HR. And HR's like, oh, yeah, that seems right to me. Like, we have that. So it's, again, anyway.
Yeah, not all of us are lucky enough to be dropped into a war plan group chat,
Yeah. But again, this is a administration right now that seems to be just inept in so many ways. I mean, just literally looping in journalists into WhatsApp message or signal message groups just to talk about war plans and stuff.
Jeez. Anyways, if anybody watching wants to call, the number is down there. The link, you can call through the web.
Yes.
It's right down there. We are taking more calls. The lines are open. Any topic, whatever you want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Christian nationalism, Russiagate, Epstein files, transphobia, whatever. So earlier on we were talking about schools. The government messing in trying to put religion into schools. And you are in Tennessee, which is a very red state.
Oh yeah.
So regarding religion in school, I told you all about what Texas is doing, what Oklahoma is doing. Is anything like that happening where you are?
Oh yeah. I was just lucky enough to get there for a committee meeting, pushing the legislation about mandatory hanging of the Ten Commandments, hanging of the Ten Commandments in the schools. I wasn't called to speak, unfortunately, but somebody we met and got connected with was, which is great. She's been out there standing up for a bunch of different stuff. We met a couple of other really great people that were there to protest against some anti-drag, anti-trans bills as well that are being passed under that same kind of mindset.
Was it Jezebel? She's Christy Burke, right? She's running for.
Yeah, Christy Burke is running for a seat in the Tennessee legislature. This I want to say Tennessee.
We're not endorsing anybody. We're just
I'm not
making comment.
Just mentioning that she's out there. So yeah, if you Christy Burke also has been a very long atheist advocate and stuff online and stuff. So if you don't know her, go check her out. She is doing some really cool stuff. I've enjoyed a lot of her stuff over the years. But we've got a bunch of different bills that are coming up. There's a handful as well that are coming up. I'm hoping to get to speak in opposition against, even though it is pretty clear for anybody that's been following, it's pretty clear where the votes are going to fall. It's important that we record opposition, right? It's kind of like in the Supreme Court cases, right? Both recent and historic. At one time, our Supreme Court heard a bunch of arguments, right? They heard a bunch of arguments and they looked at a bunch of evidence, scientific and otherwise, and then just decided that certain people actually are property. Like they're not humans, There were people who dissented, and the recording of those dissents are still important, even though they don't win out at the time. Because it's important to be able to look back to stuff like that and remind everybody, like, there is actually rule of law and governance and justice and morality out there, and we just have to make sure that we always bend that arc of history towards it. But yeah, I mean, right now our legislature is just filing a slew of bills that are attempting to install a lot of this Christian nationalist stuff, and they've been doing it in a very sneaky way. I know this has also occurred in a bunch of other states too with charter schools. And the reason that they're using charter schools is because they blur the line between public and private institutions, and they are then able to erode the law when it comes to what public spaces are required or are not restricted from doing and so forth. And so now all of a sudden public funds are going towards a Catholic school that is literally teaching Catholic doctrine as a public school. Like that's up in like Maine, I think. But
loopholes,
yeah, it's garbage. And it's also just to be super duper clear, again, focusing on Tennessee of it. Like this is against the will of Tennesseans. County after county, after school board has actively rejected the charter schools that Governor Lee and his cronies are pushing through. They have rejected them time and time again, and it is government overreach, big government coming in to tell the little guys what the fuck they have to do. And again, it's just so backwards, because this is just not a principle that has been part of, the GOP has not been a part of the conservatism in this country for so long. And so it's like, again, how do you pin Jello to the wall, for fuck's sake? If they have no fucking spine, then you can't ever make them stand on a principle.
Right. This is what I like about secular Houston, right? What Will Judy is doing here, because he is collecting a list of representatives and people who are running for different positions all across Texas. It can be from school boards all the way to governor. And they put this list together. They put a bunch of questions and they send this form to everybody, Republicans, Democrat, any of them. It doesn't matter. It's not about a party. It's about candidates that support the secularism of the government, right? Like separation of church and state. And they have a really, really great list. Unfortunately, there's even some Democrats that have not filled that list. None of the Republicans have filled it out, or if they have, they did not pass the check. They did not pass the bag check.
Right.
But there's one over here, James Tallarico. I really like him because
I've heard of him.
Yeah, I mean, he's studying to be a minister, right? So he's a very clear Christian, and he speaks at churches often and all that kind of stuff. But he fought every single one of those legislations that I mentioned: the Ten Commandments in school, prayer, the Bluebonnet curriculum, the current curriculum that's being pushed for the higher education. He's pushed back on every single one of those. He's spoken in front of Congress, everywhere, being like, hey, I am a Christian. This is my religion, which I practice at home and at church. And I don't care what religion any of you are, because that's something that we shouldn't be discussing this in this public setting. That's something that's your personal thing.
Correct.
So it's like, we need more people like that.
Yes.
Like, I don't care what your religion is, as long as you're not bringing it into, I mean, obviously, they certainly do have, do weight on somebody's morality or decision making, right? You can't really separate the two. But as long as you're not pushing it to be made public, to be, to make a state religion, to mandate a specific religion, or to say only the Ten Commandments can go on the wall. You cannot put the satanic temples tenets. You cannot put the Qurans, whatever they call, the commandments. It's like, it's just frustrating.
No, I totally agree, and I think it's a great point, because we have to work with faith leaders, right, that share our values of humanism and secularism. We have to, because we are so much more powerful as an interfaith body, which is what we are, by the way. Okay. I know, especially now, because I have been so lucky to get connected with all of these different, religious organizations in my area, members of affirming, progressive, humanist, churches, right? And they are the exact same level of disgusted and horrified. They are the exact same level of furious and sad. And these are individuals that we have to align with, okay, whether we like it or not. The movements in this country that have been hugely influential, right? I can think of various labor movements throughout the country, throughout the country's history. I can think of, obviously civil rights and so forth, LGBTQ rights, women's rights. Faith leaders have been a major part of that. They have been a major part every single time. Okay. And we all need to just swallow our pride a little bit, honestly, suck it up a little bit, and let them talk about God every once in a while so that we can make sure that motherfucking trans kids aren't being thrown in jail. Like, come on. Let's, you know what looks so fucking powerful? If you can get a rabbi and an imam and a pastor and a fucking atheist that runs some executive director of some atheist shit, all standing up there fighting for the same cause. God damn, that's beautiful. I mean, that's powerful. That's America right there. That just gives you all the feels. You just want to hear a fucking eagle screeching as it takes flight. I mean, that's what we need. We need that story. We need that narrative, because the opposition has for so long has draped themselves in these things and told us that it's their territory. We're not allowed to have community because that's church. We're not allowed to care about people. We're not allowed to be good. We're not allowed to. They lied to us for fucking years, telling us that religious people are super duper charitable and shit. Yeah, until you fucking account for the churches. Until you say, well, wait a second, like, what if we just restrict you giving to your own church as being considered charitable donations? Because it kind of makes sense why you would do that. And then suddenly you find out the people who are atheist and secular are just overwhelmingly the people involved in charitable organizations, So, don't let them take this from us. Don't let them claim that they're the ones that have the rights to. No, fuck no. We're better than that. And our values and our movement is actually broader than just us. And that's good, you guys. That's awesome. We need to start recognizing that there are a shit ton of people that wake up every fucking Sunday and go spend a fucking hour listening to somebody telling them, hey, it's fucked up what our government is doing and we need to do something about it. Those are our people. We gotta remember that. Those are our allies, man.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't expect everybody to hold the exact same beliefs and the whole same ideas that you do. That would be living in a freaking bubble, within a bubble. That's a bad idea. And we do have a bunch of people who are sort of intertwined in our community, and they're not necessarily atheists, right? But they're supportive of atheists. I can name Monte Mater, April E. Joy, Tim Whitaker, right? Just to name a couple of them. Like, absolutely. April was at NanoCon, and Monte is going to be at NanoCon this year. It's like they are doing the same thing. They're saying, hey, these people don't believe in my God. That's fine. Let's go. Let's all come together because we have a common goal.
Right.
And we have something, because Christian nationalism is not somebody, it's a whole movement.
Right.
So we have this movement that we want to help get rid of, because to start with, that's not Christianity. That's not like what one would generally associate with Christianity. Because you can be a Christian and you don't have to be a nationalist. You can be a nationalist and you don't have to be a Christian, right?
When I was a believer, it did not come into play. It was not a matter of, that was never something that was big on my mind, was figuring out, reading the Bible and trying to figure out how the local government should pave the fucking sidewalk or whatever. Like, that is not, that is not something that mattered. And yeah, I agree. It's, we need to look, and this is just me personally, right? And not everybody is in the same, set of values or in the same order. But like, for me, the atheism of it isn't the most important. Like, if I could snap my fingers and the world was exactly what I wanted, it wouldn't be that everybody just suddenly stops going to church like that. I don't believe that going to church is the problem, right? I don't believe that that reading the Bible necessarily is the problem. I believe it's these values and these ideologies. And so if I find somebody that reads the Bible or something, fucking Harry Potter, right? Lord of the Rings. Like, I don't give a shit what you're reading. If you put down the book and go, you know what? I really think immigrants should be put in cages. Then it's like, oh, no. We're not on the... I don't know how you got that from The Hobbit, bro, but I don't know how you picked that up. But man, did you read it wrong. We are not on the, but read the fucking Quran, put it down and go, wow, my faith tells me that, access to healthcare and education is a basic fundamental right, no matter what you look like or how much money's in your fucking, bank account or what you believe, I just think everybody deserves to live in healthcare and shit. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we're on the... I'm not a fan of your book, but whatever, man. I read books you probably hate too, so...
Yeah. So there's a comment from Bree in the chat, and they say Christian nationalism is dominionism rebranded. It's an old heresy that just 20 years ago was recognized as a heresy by majority of Christians.
Yes.
I don't know why we rebranded it, but yeah, it is. It is with it's kind of like Project 2025. It was originally called something else, but
right.
it was on since the 70s.
Right. All the same things that have been said about trans people is the same stuff that was said about homosexual people. All that stuff is the same stuff that was said about immigrants and Black people, Jews. I mean, pick a group, right? Like that's why I always play the swap the noun game, right? If you say a sentence and then you can just swap it with a different group and it feels uncomfortable for you, that should be a huge indicator that original sentence is a problem. Like if you say, I just don't think trans women should be able to play in women's sports. Go, okay, let's swap that noun. I just don't think Black women should be able to play in women's sports. It's like, do you feel uncomfortable? You fucking should. Unfortunately, our problem right now is there are some people that are like, you know what, SR? That's a great thought you just had. It's like, oh my God, why are you allowed to be in our government?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I mean it's crazy.
But we can do stuff.
Yeah, we can do stuff. Yeah. Okay, so Bree is saying Project 2025 has been the goal since the moral majority.
Right.
Yeah,
it was called the moral majority. Then it was called, then it was fucking Reaganomics, Reaganism shit. And now it's right. Then it was Tea Partyism. And now it's, it comes all the way. Yeah. It goes all the way back to fucking Dwight D. Eisenhower. Like Dwight, Ike wasn't.
It's been written since back then, but they keep adding or changing some of the updating it. Basically.
And all of a good bit of that, in all honesty, is just echoes of the Great Awakenings, as they're called in the United States. The Great Awakenings were a series of outdoor religious mass revivals and so forth, where people all over the country started becoming crazy fucking religious, and we've had multiples of them over the years, and they've happened at various points throughout history that coincide with other fascinating things in our history that make you kind of think that some of it had to do with racism and misogyny. But I'm not going to say for sure. But anyway, we do know for a fact, like, for instance, like the guy that ended up making fucking Kellogg's, the big corporation that it is today, he was influenced by I believe it was the third Great Awakening, as was Sylvester Graham, the guy who made the graham cracker. And both of them created both of these food substances, the cornflakes and the graham cracker. No shit. I am not even fucking joking on this, you guys. Both of them specifically made these food substances as a way to please God, because they were purposefully bland and unappetizing, which is how you should eat. So as not to provide yourself an opportunity to sin and find pleasure in something that isn't the glory of God. That is how those substances came to be. And they had mass religious fucking revivals around these types of ideologies. Like it's fascinating. And yeah, there's this beautiful through line that goes through all the way through that and comes all the way right into the moral majority comes right into the Tea Party, comes right into MAGA and Project 2025. Absolutely. Yes. And stop masturbation too. They had a lot of really crazy. That's why circumcision in large part is a huge deal in the United States, is because of that last final Great Awakening that, perpetuated these ideologies. One of those Great Awakenings, I'm pretty sure it was the second one, but I could be wrong. It might've been the first, but anyway, one of those gives us stuff like Joseph Smith, where at some point him and Brigham Young, I think, attempt to take over the United States government. It's fascinating. It's crazy. Our history is fucking wild with this religious fanaticism and garbage and stuff. And it's pretty clear. They tend, guys, the KKK is a legally registered organization in our country. And
I did know that.
It has a founding charter, that? And that founding charter explicitly talks about their love of God and their belief that it is the will of God for the white man to rule. It's like, if the KKK is not religious, then you got to tell them that. You got to reach out to fucking, what's his dumbass, David Duke, dumbass, fucking, anyway, I'm sorry.
Anyway. No, hey, it's in with Christian nationalism, so it's all fair. Because the KKK was pretty nationalist, right?
For sure they were. For sure they were. They want to take over they want America to be an ethno state.
The Proud Boys and all that.
Yeah, the Proud Boys, again, very much in that same vein. And I think I don't remember if it's 3%ers or something. There's a handful of different groups, all of those groups trace their lineage to, and again, you see it through the Civil War and all of these different major movements in our history, unfortunately, have been very tied to these religious oath keepers. Thank you. Yeah, that was what I was thinking of too. Yeah.
Okay. It's all about reaching authoritarianism.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they want. They want the power, and
right.
Unless you indoctrinate people with this belief that there is a hierarchy, then you can't have that power. Because if everybody was equal, then there would be no overreach of power. So they have to make sure that they know that God is first, then the government, then the church leaders, then the men of the house, then the woman, then the subhumans, the children. So say
yes. and we put God at the top because, as is recorded in a hadith that supposedly traces back to Aisha, which was Muhammad's youngest bride at the age of 6, I think it was 6, and then he consummated at 9. This hadith goes back to Aisha, who says to Muhammad at one point, "Hey man, it's kind of weird how Allah seems to always come down with these verses right around the time you want to do something." Now, I might have paraphrased a little, but that's the gist of it.
Yeah.
She very clearly, and it's recorded in the holy writings that are still read by Muslims today, where this young woman was like, yo, this seems a little strange how you and Allah always seem to align on your desires. You wanted to marry your brother-in-law's wife or whatever, and then Allah wrote this verse that gave you this verse that said you can do it or something. It's so strange how that happened. That's the reason why God has to be the head, is because God will inevitably coincide.
Who that sounds like? Moses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Doesn't it?
It's all the same. It's all the same. It's all the guys. It's all the people. They all do the same thing. It's look, watch. I can do it right now. Watch. I just go, God is telling me you need to send super chat, send money right now, $5 or more, and we'll read it on screen. It's crazy. It's just
you know what?
I don't know why God wants that.
We actually failed our job today. We didn't ask anybody for super chats.
I know,
so
if
you want to send super chat, guys, send super chats.
I feel like we're kind of near the end too, so it's kind of like
we are. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, we're 10 past. Yeah, but no, but I was thinking when Moses wanted to tell the people something. He would go into, the tabernacle meeting and do the thing. And then he's like, well, but no, you can't go behind the curtain because like God's gonna fuck you up.
That's right.
So it's like, yeah.
That's
it
what
was
you
like
do.
a private conversation. Yeah, it was just a private conversation always. That's why the whole personal relationship with God that you gotta have.
And that's why you need somebody else to interpret God's will as well, because, you're a logical person and you're thinking like, oh, I didn't hear that shit. And they're like, no.
Look at that. We got a super
Hey,
chat. All right, put it on the screen, guys.
We did
put it on the screen. Come on.
We did it.
Put it on.
We did it. We did the thing.
We did our job.
Good. That's
okay.
Good.
Little about trade. My friend, she and I are on a show sometimes on Monday mornings. I'm not gonna advertise it, but anyway, $5. She says, God told me to send this. Love y'all. We love you too. Thank you so much, Leo.
That's
You're
right.
awesome.
Blessed are you, child. Blessed are you.
Oh yeah, we both went at the same time. God came through both of us at the same time.
That's good.
What? Just divine intervention right there. That's divine intervention.
It is true.
Hell yeah.
See? I interpreted the message and you're welcome.
Yeah.
What can I say?
Okay. They're asking for a blessing for their dog, Kip.
Oh.
So, all right.
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Blessed on you, most fluffy, and lovable. You will get all the kibbles and all the bits.
Oh yeah. Stay fluff, buddy.
That's right. Stay fluff. Yeah. Oh goodness.
All right. Thank you so much, Isar, for coming on last minute. Neil was not feeling very well, so everybody send him your thoughts and prayers and best wishes and blessings and all the things we can do. Yeah,
a couple of people recently in the space that has had some difficulties and stuff.
It's like a flu going around.
I know. It's a bummer. And I'll say this because just in case anybody here is not aware, I think it's still up. Correct me if I'm wrong. AJ and Ember recently. I know everybody here knows Ember as well. Longtime member, awesome contributor in this community. AJ and Ember recently did this awesome thing for a very close friend for many of us here. HellsBells, Helen, has had some, again, just some upsetting fucking hell shit, man. Just some bullshit. God's perfect design and all isn't seeming to work out. So there is a GoFundMe out there to help raise some money. What was the final number that was? Do you remember? Because I look back at it a little later and it was over 3K, I think.
Yeah, we started at 1,800 and we ended at 3,200. But I heard that there was about another 100 more after.
That's amazing.
That's pretty good.
Cool. That is so freaking cool, man. That's
Speaking
the type
of
of stuff that we
fundraisers. Okay, God gives children cancer, right? He could take it away. I had a conversation with someone on this channel who told me that God could take away children's cancer.
Wow.
But he didn't know why he doesn't do it.
That's weird.
So I was like, hey, listen. The same person was like, well, what are you doing about it? And I was like, well, I support the organizations wherever I can. If I can give money, I do so. If I can't give money, I give my time or whatever. So since I cannot give money right now, what I did is Skeptic Haven created a whole new show just for me to host, which is going to be called Critical Call. And it starts on Thursday. Seth Andrews is going to be my first guest.
Nice.
And we are going to use that show as a fundraiser for St. Baldrick's, which is an amazing organization that supports research for cures for childhood cancer. So what we do is we raise money for them. And at the end of the fundraiser, which is March 8th, a bunch of people here in Houston come together. It's all over the country, okay? But different cities set different dates. So we are going to meet up in an Irish bar and we all shave our heads together as a group. It doesn't matter what our religion is. Like I think most of the people there are probably theists. They're cool with me coming up with, my tattoos and my lack of God belief, and like we all come together, shave our heads, hug each other, raise money for kids because God won't do it. So if you want to support our work in place of God, if you want to stick a finger to God, show up on Thursday right here, 6:30 p.m. Central.
That's right.
Come raise money with us. So that's gonna be fun.
God doesn't stop cancer, we do.
That's exactly what we're gonna call the show. Okay.
That's awesome. I love it.
So that's gonna be a good one. And then I think next Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, Ember is gonna be right here on the show with Justin. So that's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Justin, from this Justin or Deconstruction Zone?
No, from this Justin.
Love
yeah,
him.
yeah.
Love him. Great dude.
Yeah.
The Deconstruction Zone is also good too. I'm not saying which Justin is better. I just want to put that out there.
As far as I know, he hasn't been on the show, but if you have the connection, I'm sure
$1,400 live. $1,400 live got raised for hell, and that is
awesome.
Amazing.
That's
man.
awesome.
That's incredible, y'all.
That's how the atheist community comes together too, right? Yeah.
Right.
And it was just a few of us.
Yeah.
So
and there's a lot more that we can do. I know we're all tired. I know we're all stressed. I know none of us have none of us have enough money and so forth. But there is good stuff going on in your areas, I am sure. So reach out, find out about it, man. Like like I said, I just found out about Secular Houston becoming a pack. That's amazing. So
awesome
get connected, y'all. Do something. Get out there. Give somebody a fucking sandwich. Get voting. There's 1,000 things you can do, man, and it doesn't take a shit ton of money, effort, or time, or any of that. So.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna read the YouTube members.
Do it.
That's gonna be Kelly Laughlin. That sounds familiar. Logan Fisher. Cynthia McDonald's also sounds familiar. Infidel. Angela. Stop the stupidity. And tons of mice. Now, there's supposed to be a list of Patreons. I hear somewhere. I don't know what it is. I don't have it in my memory. But I'm going to say thank you so much to the Patreons that support every month. You're all freaking awesome. And I promise next time that your names will be down there so I can read them. But yeah, cool stuff. So with that, anything else you wanted to say or share before we,
No, I don't think so. If you're in the Middle Tennessee area, come hit us up. We're doing all kinds of really cool things. Secular Rising US, the local Middle Tennessee Humanists, Sunday Assembly Nashville, RFR Nashville, RFR Murfreesboro. We've got a ton of groups, you guys. So if you're in Middle Tennessee, you've got people, you've got community. Just reach out to us.
Awesome stuff. And if you want to follow Secular Rarity, you can go on YouTube, look up Secular Rarity, and he's got all the he doesn't make videos himself, but he's on everybody's pages.
I was on Skeptic Generation earlier today with Eric Murphy, so we were hanging out. Go check that out if you haven't got enough Secular Rarity in your life, I guess.
Yeah, and if you want to follow me, I have a channel called Ways to Human, and I'm also on here. And then, like I said, Thursdays we're gonna be here 6:30 p.m. Central, and that's about it. Everybody, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. Thank you to the callers. Thank you to all the chat that kept us entertained. Thank you for listening to us blab for nearly 2 hours, I guess. So, all right, see you next time, guys.
This is Skeptic Haven. Let's talk.